Smart cities are not just a matter of boxes with blinky lights and fiber optic cables. They're about people who work together, who trust each other, and who see their common future. And sometimes they have to learn from others outside their city and even outside their country.
Cooperation between departments and interdisciplinary action are becoming more and more necessary. Potential in civil society needs to be tapped, and our citizens want to become involved in decision-making. These are lessons that Berlin learned during the years of the reunification, when two very different cities, East and West Berlin, had to be turned into one singular entity.
I would mention at least three issues that we should address. First, to increase the coordination of the sectoral policies in a more integrated way. Secondly, to make sure that we are able to coordinate and synchronize the different levels of government that affect urban growth. And third, to assure that there is a participation of the citizens on the definition of the strategic plan of the urban areas, and that their participation, their voices are heard on the definition of policies.
Le concept de gouvernance intégrée urbaine est un concept très important pour les villes au plan mondial et aussi pour nous qui venons des pays sous-développés ou en voie de développement. C'est un concept qui peut nous amener à atteindre nos objectifs.
Urban governance is an important concept. It is more an art than in science. In the South African context, integrated urban governance becomes an important approach to bring divergent voices together to inform decision-making. And urban governance directly contributes towards democratization.
Indian cities don't have luxury of time. They need to have this integrated approach ASAP built into their planning. In doing so, the best tool we can offer to the Indian cities is a capacity building, and the fundamental for the Indian cities is the integrated urban governance, where the democratic principles come in the front and everyone participate in the cities, in the future of the cities.
So cities learn by learning from each other. And cities are doing this by the thousands all around the world, exchanging ideas because somewhere, everywhere, something has been invented that a city might need.
We want to share our experience, and we would love it if you could join us.
For the first time in human history, more than half of the world's population live in cities, many of which are growing at an alarming rate, as more and more people seek opportunities in these connected and often complex environments. With the growth of our cities comes immense pressure to provide adequate and sustainable housing, jobs and infrastructure to serve these ever-increasing populations. The growth in our cities is not just down to increases in birth rates and longer life expectancy. There is also an increase in the level of migration of people from rural areas to cities. With a population of over 4 million people, Melbourne sits as the state capital of Victoria and the second largest city in Australia. But like many cities, Melbourne's population is growing, and with it brings challenges to provide housing, infrastructure and jobs for an ever-increasing population. The Victorian Department of Planning and Community Development plays a vital role in planning for the future growth and development of Melbourne. Andrew Tung is Department Secretary.
The Victorian Department of Planning and Community Development is working to create competitive cities and regions here in Victoria, Australia. Our key priorities include strategic planning for the City of Melbourne, a city The Economist calls the most livable city in the world. Melbourne currently has 4.2 million people and is growing to 6 or perhaps 7 million people in the next 20 to 25 years. This throws up a number of challenges that we're working through, balancing livability, the economy, the needs of a changing society, and importantly, creating a sustainable population base for a long-term future for Victorians. An important part of our work is working with Metropolis on an integrated strategic planning and public-private partnership project. The project is directed by Mary Lewin with our partners, the United Nations Global Compact Cities Program and the Indian National Institute of Urban Affairs.
The Metropolis initiatives are major international projects led by member cities. The objective of integrated strategic planning and public-private partnerships is to build the capacity of municipal and government staff who plan the provision and maintenance of essential infrastructure. Our aim is to develop a model that integrates the considerations of both the public and the private sectors right from the initial planning stages when dealing with urgent infrastructure needs. Whilst the focus is on Indian cities, it is intended that the model could easily be adopted by other cities around the world.
Paul James, a professor at RMIT University in Melbourne, is the director of the United Nations Global Compact Cities Program.
The United Nations Global Compact Cities Program is integral to this project with Metropolis. The International Secretariat of the United Nations, the Cities Program, is hosted here at RMIT, and what we are dealing with Metropolis are seemingly intractable problems. Problems which haven't been able to be dealt with by governments alone. They've moved now to working in public-private partnerships. One of the things we want to do with those public-private partnerships is rethink the nature of the ways in which those partnerships are organised. The world's in crisis, and ironically, even though cities have been a central part through urbanisation, intensification processes, globalisation and increased use of resources in that crisis, cities often offer the solution to that as well. We're focusing on India, and the kind of work we're doing there is bringing a new approach to the way in which cities are dealing with major crises. And the Cities Program brings together a wealth of research and methodological experience, particularly in a program we've been developing around circles of sustainability. The effect of that program has been to rethink the triple bottom line notion that puts economics as the core and ecology as the externality. So in a way, what we're saying is a more integral framework starts with the social and says that economics, ecology, but also politics and culture are part of the social framework within which cities have to deal with those major problems that have to be addressed immediately. We're very excited to be working with Metropolis, and we think the Metropolis, in the work it's been doing in the commissions from the past, has extraordinary knowledge working in partnership with many cities around the world. The Indian cities of New Delhi, of Hyderabad, of Calcutta, but also Sao Paulo and Tehran, bringing together a wealth of knowledge to actually bring about change because we understand both the differences in their contexts, but also the similarities that bind us to a changing world.
With the right people in place, it is hoped that this initiative can successfully achieve the goal of tackling urgent infrastructure needs in Indian cities and delivering more livable cities.
Hemos aprendido como de tener poco, de tener unos medios muy reducidos, se pueden hacer grandes cosas.
Es como dejar las armas tomando instrumentos de música o teniendo, digamos, en unos pinceles la posibilidad de hacer nuevas narraciones sobre la ciudad.
De hecho, el sistema de bibliotecas de Medellín, que es muy joven, que arranca en el año 2006 como sistema, cogió elementos de referencia para construirlo del Consorcio de Bibliotecas de Barcelona.
Cuando a la gente se le hace sentir la belleza, la gente por sí misma promueve la bondad.
Lo fundamental es que tenemos claro que no se trata de construir ciudad. Lo fundamental es que tenemos claro que se trata de construir ciudadanía.
A mí me sorprende cada vez que me muevo en ese entorno institucional la capacidad que hay para sumar.
El principal valor de esta experiencia es el intercambio de conocimiento.
La cooperación directa con recursos humanos y técnicos tiene la ventaja de movilizar y de transformar con mucho más profundidad que lo que es la pura transferencia económica, ¿no?
Tiene como objetivo precisamente estrechar esos vínculos silenciosos de la cultura.
El arte como principales pilares para la construcción de una sociedad más digna, más equitativa.
La ciudadanía ha tomado la calle y tomar la calle, en el buen sentido de la palabra, es muy importante para educar para la ciudadanía.
Esta característica de ciudad, de segunda ciudad importante en relación a la capital del Estado, les ha dado una vocación de emprendimiento.
Y así como he considerado que la desigualdad es nuestro principal problema, estoy absolutamente convencido que la educación es la llave fundamental para romper esas desigualdades.
Lo que es seguro es que con el espíritu con el que trabajan y con las ganas que tienen de trabajar, van a echar para adelante, sea como sea.
Apuesta por la dignidad del espíritu humano, por la capacidad de crear, por la capacidad de construir. Y Barcelona para nosotros ha sido una inspiración.
Vamos a aprender de sus prácticas. Este intercambio es necesario para que nosotros empecemos a reconstruirnos.
Cátedra Medellín-Barcelona a través de la Fundación Kreanta significa la concreción del diálogo intercultural.
Se trabaja por muchas patas, lo que comentabas antes, desde muchos sectores y desde muchas perspectivas, y yo creo que quizás esa es la parte más interesante de todo este proyecto, de esta relación.
Yo creo que cuando dos ciudades logran verse desde lo que las acerca y las diferencia para complementarse, es una gran oportunidad.
Medellín es una causa. Es una causa colectiva, y eso se nota en los proyectos, en las personas, en la pasión que ustedes ponen en su futuro y en su presente.
Es que hay que recuperar una cosa esencial, que es el pensamiento crítico.
Cualquier metodología de ciudad, de proyecto de ciudad que entre en red y que trabaje conjuntamente con otras ciudades es importantísimo para las ciudades.
Cómo las bibliotecas de una ciudad pueden llegar a ser ampliamente transformadoras de la realidad social, ¿no?
Si hay algo que emociona cuando visitas Medellín es que la realidad está expuesta de una manera directa y cruda.
Medellín es una lección de urbanismo y sobre todo una lección de urbanidad.
My name is Julio Nascimento. I am a coordinator of initiative Ile-de-France region of Metropolis Association, and I am working for the Institute of Urban and Regional Planning of Ile-de-France region. This institute is the technical center in charge of carrying out studies to support the political actions of a regional council so that it can take decisions about spatial management like environment, housing, transportation, and local economy. Additionally, the Institute works to elaborate the master plan of Ile-de-France region and helps the regional council to apply the regional plans like climate, air and energy, management and prevention of waste from building sites, sustainable agriculture, and so on. The initiative Ile-de-France proposes to show the concrete actions to mitigate and adapt the impact of climate change on cities. The main aim of this initiative is to help local authorities to apply actions to contribute to fight climate change processes. Also, a guide will be produced with recommendations to different social actors on how to develop better governance processes. We are promoted concrete actions developed by Metropolis in order to help countries willing to implement actions to fight climate change and thus improve a better quality of life. In order to do this, we need to consider the specificities of each city as well as its political context. The first target of Ile-de-France initiative is to facilitate the organization of seminars between Metropolis members in order for them to share experience deriving from concrete actions. The second one is to elaborate a practical guide that describes concrete actions to fight climate change while taking into account the economic and social reality of each country.